Hello, this is Goku4071 here with a video. This is probably going to be two different discussions. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this video, so it might be two parts, might be one part, but the video is going to be should older films go into 3D, and I'm primarily going to be talking about Star Wars. And then I'm going to get into the argument of, is what they're doing with Star Wars, changing it periodically, bad or good, and what do I feel about it? Okay, let's begin with the 3D discussion. Okay, Avatar came out in 3D, and it showed that 3D could be used as a tool, not a gimmick, and it really is getting me excited because, I didn't really know what to expect when I heard Star Wars was going to be going to 3D. And I don't know if it's going to be all 6 films, the original trilogy, or the new trilogy. I don't know exactly what they plan to do. And then I heard people talking about it, like, I was talking to a friend, the other day, and I was telling him how Titanic is going to be going to 3D, and he's like, oh, they're going to, it's going to be so horrible, because they're going to get new actors, and they're going to redo the movie, and it's going to be so horrifyingly crappy, because it's not going to be the original film. No, it's going to be the real film. I know people that are very idiotic with 3D. Like, he says 3D doesn't matter, but then he says 3D ruins movies. So, that makes no sense to me. I mean, how can 3D not matter and ruin films? I mean, and 3D still has a while to go. We still have to get rid of those stupid glasses. But it is starting to take over. The 3D DS is on its way. So 3D is going to be very big in films coming up. You're seeing a lot of films go into 3D. And you know, classic films like Lord of the Rings, Titanic, Star Wars will absolutely go into 3D. Now that I've kind of talked about that, first of all, 3D is quite inexpensive to convert a movie. I think it's about $3 to $7 million. Now that seems like a lot of money, but we're talking about films that are going to make a lot more money if they go back into theaters and do it. Star Wars would make a whole lot more money. And don't say you won't go see it, because a lot of you Star Wars fans will go see it. I'm not saying all of you will, but and that ultimately means they're going to change the film again. We're going to get into that argument later, or that discussion later. And right now we're going to talk about why I think Star Wars is going to be great in 3D when it eventually gets there, if they do it right. And it's the key words, right. There are several scenes in Star Wars that I think really gets me in a good mood for 3D. 2 scenes in particular. And then I'm going to get onto the other argument of why I like the special edition. Because I am going to talk about that, and I'm going to tell you why I like it. But, the first scene is the cantina scene. I think the cantina scene would be excellent in 3D, because it would feel like you're walking through that cantina, and it feel like you're actually there, and, if they do it right, it could feel like you're really in that area, and you're actually seeing Greedo get shot. And they should reverse that back. Han does shoot first, but it's not that discussion. Not yet, at least. Also, the raid on the Death Star, where Luke Skywalker's in the X-Wing and is flying down, that would be an excellent scene for 3D. I can imagine it right now, being in the theaters, looking the point of view of the X-Wing, kind of feeling like I'm Luke Skywalker, going through that trench, actually seeing the trench, actually being inside the trench and all that, and actually following the missile and blowing it up. That would feel so great to me. And so I want your opinions on this. Anybody who's watching this video, please give me a comment or a video response telling me what you think about classic films going to 3D. Now we're going to go into why I like the special edition. I like the special edition because they did a lot of good things for it. And I will definitely be showing a lot of different pictures. I don't know if they're going to be directly connected, but let's first talk about Episode 4. Episode 4 had some really good things added when it went into the special edition. And then they touched it up a lot more in the DVD release. And that's cool. I like that. There are scenes that don't work, but in episode 4, I don't think there's any scene that doesn't work. And I don't think there's any scenes that don't work in episode 5 for the most part. Except for the Greedo shoots first. That was the one exception. And Han did shoot first, and that should be in the film. And now that they fixed it up a little bit, they shoot at the same time. It's still not perfect, but hey. It was a kids' movie, and it was stupid that they changed it, but the Jabba the Hutt scene. Okay, originally they had Jabba the Hutt was originally going to be in the first film, episode 4, but they cut that out because they couldn't because they didn't really know how Jabba the Hutt should look, and they had a fat guy, in the scene, and the picture will be in this part of the video. And then they eventually and they decided to bring that scene back, and they had shot that entire scene. And the scene originally, the scene where he steps on the tail, that wasn't really there. It was how it was. It was a human, so he was walking around the human, and with Jabba the Hutt added, he has that tail, so he stepped on that tail, and I really think that gives more to the film. It doesn't take away from the film. They did add a lot of like nonsensical things that don't need to be there, but that was completely legit scene that should have been there. Other things in episode 4 that definitely should have been there, they just couldn't do it, was when they're flying up from Yavin 4, you don't see the X-Wings. In the special edition you do. That doesn't take away from the film. That doesn't hurt the film. That makes the film better. In episode 5, they have a scene in which you see that snow beast. Now, I don't have pictures of that scene. I didn't get any. But you see more of that snow beast. When they go into Cloud City, you see more of Cloud City. And those, to me, are perfectly fine scenes. I don't see why those are bad scenes. They don't take away from the film. They add to the film. And if you take away from the film, yes, take away them. They don't do anything. If you're just adding things to be there. Now, episode 6. Really, there were a lot of things that shouldn't be there. The dancing scene, but the celebration scenes were the big thing, and those were completely fine. Those should be there. Those add to the movie. Those are great. And I like those. The one scene that really pisses me off, and this is going to be about the end of the video, is the scene where they take away old Anakin and they add Christian Haydenson. Not because I hate the actor, not because that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense for one reason and one reason only. They didn't plan that. That wasn't like the Jabba the Hutt scene. The Jabba the Hutt scene's fine because that was supposed to be in the movie. This was never supposed to be in the movie, because if it was supposed to be in the movie, there would have been a younger actor. And if they had casted a younger actor and put him there, and then decided to switch Hayden Christensen, I would have no problem with that scene. I would be defending that scene to the end of days, because they didn't really know who was going to play him when they eventually did the movies. They had no reference to anything. So, and the scene doesn't make sense because they chose an older actor. And if that was supposed to be how he looked when he changed, then the new film messed that one up by casting too young of an actor. So that's the problems I have with that. Also, I do want to mention the dancing scene. Blows Himself Dude explains this, and also Red Letter Media explains this, that they add too much junk. And the dancing scene is junk. It doesn't need to be there. It doesn't add to the film. It doesn't add to depth. It doesn't really add anything. It's nonsense. And things like that should have been taken out. Other than that, I think the special editions and the DVDs are fine. I watch the originals occasionally. I don't mind watching the originals. I'm not one of those people that I'm so polar against it. It's not like this is unwatchable to me. There are things that I cannot play or watch once they come out with a better version. This isn't it. This is Goku Fordo Someone. If you have a video, a comment or a video response, go ahead. See you next time. And please tell me why I'm wrong.